have never desired your good opinion.
People fear what they do not understand.
I have a headache, a badge, and a gun.
Power is yours.
Behave.
I was just trying to start a conversation.
And share the wonders I've seen.
Hi, and welcome to The Wonders I've Seen, where there's no such thing as weird or normal, there's just different. I'm your host, Tanagra, and today we'll be discussing Hulu's latest original series, Shrill, starring SNL's alumni, Aidy Bryant. My liquid nourishment for the day is Earl Grey, hot. So grab your own liquid nourishment, sit back, relax, and enjoy the wonders. So in case you're not familiar with Hulu's latest original, Shrill is a show based on Lindy West memoirs entitled Shrill, Notes from a Loud Woman. Immediately, I was interested in this. I'm not necessarily a loud woman, but I do know the negative connotation of the word shrill when associated with women who are not necessarily loud, but simply speak their minds. I am a fan of Aidy Bryant. I thought she was talented and wonderful on SNL, and to see her get her own show was something that I had hoped would happen, but I wasn't sure what it would actually be, knowing how Hollywood treats women who don't fall into the stereotypical beauty standard, which, funny enough, Shrill addresses right off the bat. So Shrill is about the character Annie, who is based on Lindy West, who wrote the original memoirs, and it stars Aidy Bryant along with Lalia Adefope, who is best known on this side of the pond for setting up Idris Elba's Squarespace website, if you saw those wonderful commercial spots, who plays her best friend, Fran. When the show starts out, we see Aidy Bryant's Annie coming home from walking the dog, showing that she has an active life and she's changing. And there's this wonderful, memorable, recognizable moment of putting on a shirt, and then she stretches it out. And if you have a stomach or a large chest, you know this reality. This pain is real because it fits you fine, but it needs to be just a little bit bigger. But if you buy a size up, then you won't have a figure in it. And when that happened, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm in. Then you see her going downstairs, and she's eating something called Thin Menu, which looks like, appears to be dehydrated, no cheese pupusas, like just the breading. And we later learn that these are from some diet plan that her mother has her on. And these few minutes just sort of sum up the series and, in all honesty, set my expectations. And they were positive. Aidy Bryant is not your standard size Hollywood actress, but that is actually not the center of this show. And I think that's my favorite thing about it. So full disclosure, I've only watched the first 3 episodes. I feel that in the first 3 episodes, you usually have a good idea of whether or not you're going to continue to watch a show. That's what I do for every other show that I watch. If 3 episodes in, I'm bored, I'm like, okay, I have so much other television to choose from. I don't need to invest my time. And Shrill caught me in this first couple of minutes, and I kept watching, and it not only got better throughout the show, but each episode has gotten progressively better, and I am very excited to finish this series. There's only 6, so there's no reason not to. So Annie works at an online magazine, and her sort of her dream is to be a known writer, and you get the sense that she's not only capable, but she also lacks sort of the fight to get up there and put her name in there, which I think is something that women struggle with, but also people who don't fit into some sort of physical beauty standard have struggled with, because they're constantly either looked over or made to be the funny person. Like I said, this is something that I worried about with Aidy Bryant and leaving SNL. Like, she is a professional comedian, but she's also an actress. But Hollywood has a way of putting plus size women in the comedy role. Whether we're talking about Rosie O'Donnell, whether we're talking about Melissa McCartney, whether we're talking about Aidy Bryant, whether we're talking about, like, it really doesn't matter if somebody identifies as feminine, is conforms to the female aesthetic, but doesn't conform enough that they're skinny. And by skinny, I mean like a size 6 or smaller, because God forbid you be average, which is a size actually 12 in the United States. You must be funny. You are relegated to the funny, fat sidekick. And this show takes that and is just like, no, that's not necessary. And they show how those comments about like, oh my God, you're so funny, or oh my God, there's a thin person inside of you dying to get out, which some trainer literally grabs Aidy Bryant's wrist and is like telling her like, you can be thin, do it for you, do it for your health. But the truth is that like, one, bitch, shut the fuck up. Two, being fat or being plus size does not necessarily equal that you aren't in shape, just like being skinny doesn't equal that you're healthy, which is a myth that's been disproved long ago, but yet people still try to use that terminology of, oh, I'm worried about your health, in order to body shame you into being smaller if you're not anywhere towards the size that they think you should be or towards the acceptable society's acceptable standards of being skinny, particularly as a female. And yes, this does happen with men, but it is a lot with women. It's mostly on women, because we carry this sort of this weight stigma of what we're supposed to be, in every aspect of our life throughout our lives. I've babysat for 11-year-olds who told me that they were worried about their thighs. And as somebody who is well past that age, I know that worry can continue. And hopefully as you get older, you start to give less fucks. But the idea that society will have these expectations of you based on your aesthetic, based on your size, is something that you're constantly dealing with. And you have to find that own self-love. And that's something that we watch Annie go through. And the way in which she finds that empowerment is probably controversial, but I have to admit, I loved it. So she has this fuck boy or fuck buddy, you know, choose your term, whichever one you like, of Ryan. And she's sleeping with him. And because he likes to quote unquote raw dog it, never sleep with somebody who says raw dog it, and never sleep with somebody who doesn't want to use a condom. If you like to use them, please, y'all, take care of yourselves. And women, you know, we're at higher risk of contracting STDs. Also, if pregnancy happens, we're the ones who have to deal with it, which is exactly what happens to Annie in when her relationship with Ryan. She gets pregnant because he likes to raw dog it, and apparently the morning after doesn't work if you're over a certain weight, which somebody should tell people that, because this is literally the first time I had ever heard of that. I didn't know that. Like, it makes sense, right? It's drugs, proportions, blah, 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 body, biology, chemistry, whatever. But I'd never heard that before. And so it was one of those like, oh shit, is that real? And also, oh shit, why aren't they telling these to people in real life things? Why did I have to learn this from a Hulu show? So because the plan B doesn't work for her, she ends up pregnant, and her wonderfully supportive, lovely friend, played by the beautiful Lolly, is like, I'll be there for you. Do you really want to have a child with a guy who says raw dogging it and makes you like, you're not even in a relationship, you're not even friends? And there's this wonderfully sad, horribly honest and relatable moment where Annie talks about how a part of her wants to keep the child because she never thought that, given the way she looked, that she'd ever have a chance. She thought that if she was quiet and easy to please and low maintenance, then maybe she could at least get somebody and she'd get pregnant and she'd have that. And this might be her opportunity. And her friend says the best thing a friend can say when you're saying something so negative and horrible about yourself, that it makes her sad that she has so much hate, and that she should work on getting rid of that. And I loved it. I love their friendship. I loved that moment because it was so real. And whoever wrote that truly spoke to that, and you could feel it. And ultimately, Annie decides to get the abortion, but afterwards she goes through this transformation because it was the first time, and she tells this to her friend, she tells this to Fran, that it was the first time that she actually did something for herself that she wanted to, that she wasn't quiet, that she didn't try and make somebody else happy or somebody else more comfortable. And it was empowering. And after that, after the abortion, after a few days of resting, she's like, I can do this. I can do something for me. I can demand better for myself. So she goes, she breaks up with fuckboy Ryan. She sees the trainer who grabbed her wrist and said like, oh, you can, lose the weight for your health, you gotta call me, like, do this for you, and says like, fuck you, and then the trainer calls her a fat bitch, and it's just like, wow, oh, you're so skinny and pretty and you're still so evil, which is like not news to most anybody, but it was just sort of nice to see like that interaction. And then Annie's just like, God, that was rude, but she keeps on going. She doesn't stop, she doesn't cry, she doesn't even go after this woman and fight her and smack her and smash her head through the glass like she would have been totally justified in doing. She just keeps going. She's like, oh, screw her, like, I'm happy, I love me, I'm gonna keep walking, I'm going somewhere better. It's a wonderful moment. So this idea of positivity, of Annie becoming who she is, of accepting and loving who she is, of becoming more of what she's capable of, is also played out in various aspects of her life. Like, you see the insecurities that her weight have caused her in her romantic relationship with Ryan, in her relationship with her mom, who's constantly like, well, I got you the thin menu, if you exercise it's so easy, you could just do it, a little bit a day, which is like that negativity about, like, if you looked better, if you took care of yourself better, you should do this, you should do this, you should not look the way you do. And hearing that, and you also see how it plays over in her professional life, and that she's very capable, but yet because she's so busy trying not to offend, because she's so busy trying to be invisible, she doesn't speak up for herself. And after she has the abortion, all of that changes. Like, that she has to take care of herself. And yes, she has support from her best friend, the lovely Fran, but ultimately it's up to her. Like, you can get support, but, as I say, like, you have to do it for yourself. You have to fight your own battles. I love this show. I wish everybody would watch it, for the skinny bitches out there who are like, oh, for your health, lose weight. For the plus size girls who are out there, for the fat women who are out there, for the average girls who are out there, like, just to watch this and see, like, yeah, my size is part of who I am. I can constantly be cute, I can speak up, and like, I don't have to be quiet and try and make myself smaller just because physically I take up more space. I love the fact that there's this excellent contrast between Annie and Fran, because Fran is out there like screwing everybody, has several people she's sleeping with, trying to figure out who she wants to be. She is a ladies' lady, and there is actually, I don't even know if there is a size difference between the two of them, but they're neither one of them is skinny, and Fran is constantly in like her funky, cute clothes, bright colors, sleeping with everybody, doing her thing, highly confident. And then you have Annie, who's on the opposite end of that spectrum. And I like the fact that they show that it's not like the skinny friend who is like, oh, I'm so confident sleeping with everything. It's like, no, it's just, we're the same size, but it's all about how you approach. It's all about your self-love. It's all about your self-pride. I also appreciate the fact that even though Annie does have those insecurities, she still has some pride in herself. Even though it's there, like, she still cares about what she looks like. I mean, it's Aidy Bryant. We're not exactly like working with somebody who's unattractive here, but like, they don't try and make her look less attractive. They don't give her like sloppy looking clothes. Like, she constantly looks cute, which is important because of how you feel and how you portray yourself to the world. Like, people pick up on that. Like, she's out there dating, she's not having healthy relationships though. Like, she's out there knowing that she's capable, but she's not pursuing it. And like, you see all this potential in her, and as the show's gone on, you see it starting to come out. I'm very excited to watch episode 4 because it's the swimsuit episode, and as somebody who constantly struggles with finding a swimsuit that I'm comfortable in, and I have been everywhere between a size 6 and a size 14, and no matter where I am not comfortable with it. I remember the moment when I found the swimsuit that made me feel like gorgeous and that I wanted to actively wear in front of people. And I want that feeling, and I want that feeling for like Annie. And I'm hoping that's what this next episode will show. I think it will, because this show thus far has been about not showing Annie as a joke. She's simply just like the lead of your standard millennial, insecure millennial show, and her weight is at part of that. I hope I'm selling you on this. Everybody should watch Shrill. Men should watch Shrill so they know how not to be. People of all sizes of adult and up should watch it because there is some sex scene. There is a sex scene. There's probably going to be more. Should watch it just to understand that it's not about just about how you look. It's how you approach it. It's how you approach life. It's how you think about yourself in life. There's this wonderful moment where Annie is, and I've probably said wonderful moment so many times in this podcast, but this show really got to me. But Annie is trying to cross the street and she's so busy. She's like, oh, sorry. Oh, apologizing to all the cars and going back and forth. And this woman comes along, and I mean, I assume she's a plus size model because this woman is ridiculously gorgeous and probably 6 feet tall. But she's wearing this red jumpsuit with this red flowing long cape, and her hair is on point, her makeup's on point, and she's just confidently walks across the street. And I had this moment where younger me who didn't like attention and adult me who's always oh, I should be cautious, was just yes, cross that street, make those cars stop. It was something so small, but the amount of confidence it takes and surety it takes to expect people to see you and to say that's okay that they see me, that's good that they see me, they should stop and they should recognize. It's something that I think women particularly struggle with, and women of a certain appearance struggle with as well. And Annie follows this woman to a flower shop, and she watches her walk away, and then she buys flowers for herself. And I was yeah, treat yourself, love yourself. Well, that's all the wonders that I have to share with you today. If you want to continue this discussion about Shrill, about body positivity, about female empowerment, about how something like an abortion can empower you to love yourself and do what's best for you, you can find me on Twitter at Tanagra GGNOC. That's at TANAGRAGGNOC. For all you Android users, you can find us on Anchor and RadioPublic. And for all you iThings users, you can listen on iTunes and Overcast. And if you like to listen while watching pictures, or if you're just on YouTube a lot, you can also find us and listen on YouTube. So leave us a message on some platform. Let me know your thoughts. I love Shrill. I'm so excited to finish it. I'll probably be tweeting about it. If you have another show that you think is great on body positivity, on female empowerment, let me know. Share your thoughts. Thanks for joining. Make choices and don't roll it up.